Hello everyone, I'm Aleka and welcome to my get together. Today we are working on a cheese sauce that is made without any flour. It took me many trial and errors to get the perfect consistency because we all know that flour is such an important ingredient when it comes to thickening sauces. But if we use the right ingredients and we melt it the right way, all we need is dairy, no flour, no cornstarch, nothing. This sauce comes out super creamy, it's silky, it's smooth, and it's perfect for dipping Tostitos in or any tortilla chips or pretzels or even topping nachos with. It's such a great cheese and it's so versatile. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. Let's get started. What we need for our cheese sauce is good old whole milk. Don't use 2%, don't use skim. We need the fat content in the milk to bring the sauce together, okay? If there is not enough fat, it will not turn out properly. Trust me on this one. The next thing we need is some Monterey Jack cheese. Monterey Jack cheese is a great melting cheese. Remember, we want our cheese to melt. I've tried it with cheddar. Cheddar does not melt as well, bottom line. Monterey Jack melts very well and it's white because we're going for a white cheese sauce, right? The next thing we need is American cheese. American cheese comes in slices, so it's a little bit harder to measure, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. The American cheese also melts very well, similar to the Monterey Jack. And I like the flavor combination of Monterey Jack and American, so it really works very well for this cheese sauce, okay? Now let's measure out our cheese. The first thing we wanna do is grate a 1/4 cup of Monterey Jack. Now Monterey Jack comes in usually a bar like this. This bar right here is 8 ounces. So if we need a 1/4 of a cup, you have to ask yourself, how many ounces is in a 1/4 cup, Aleka? Well, if you think how many ounces is in a pound, it's 16 ounces in a pound. So a 1/4 would be a 1/4 of that, so that'd be 4. Hopefully my math students are learning something here. Next, we need a grater to grate our cheese. Simply grate it. Do not get the pre-shredded bagged cheese in the food store. I know it's tempting, but they put chemicals, ingredients, preservatives, whatever it is on that cheese in the bags, which prevent the cheese from sticking together, which is not what we want in our cheese sauce. So the bar is the only cheese I want you to get. And I'm being very picky about this because it's a very temperamental cheese sauce, so you have to follow every little tip that I'm offering you. Now that our Monterey Jack cheese is shredded, we're going to cut our American cheese up. My American cheese came in a pound, which is 16 ounces. Yay, more math! We also need a 1/4 pound of American cheese. What's a 1/4 of a pound of 16 ounces? That would be a 1/4 of it. Well, that would be 4 ounces. So because American cheese comes in slices, it's really hard to measure it. So either ask your cheese guy, your deli guy, to slice a 1/4 of a pound, or go in the store and buy 1/2 pound and cut it in half, or buy the pound and cut it into quarters and use a 1/4 of it, okay? My cheese slices are pretty thick, so it may be in a different amount of cheese slices compared to yours, okay? Mine, all I need is 6, you may need 8. It's gonna differ. Okay, so this is how we're going to cut our American cheese, just little chunks, almost like you're dicing up a pepper or an onion. Doing this will help it melt quicker because we don't want big slices of American cheese sitting in our saucepan, and then it's gonna end up being just like a stack of cheese that's gonna take forever to melt, and it's going to heat unevenly, and it's gonna cause all kinds of problems with our cheese sauce. So cut it up chunky. This is all we need to do. Shredded chunks. Now let's make our cheese sauce. So the first thing we need to do is grab a saucepan. This is a saucepan. They come in different sizes. It's called a saucepan because it's good for making sauces. And that's exactly what we're making. So I want you to set it over low heat first on your stove. To our saucepan, we're going to add our milk, okay? We need 3/4 of a cup of milk. So we're going to measure this out, make sure it's exactly 3/4 of a cup. And the best way to measure is to get down high level. Okay, we're good. 3/4 cup of milk we're gonna add to our saucepan. Okay, after we add our milk, remember we want low heat. We're going to add our cheeses. Now that our cheese is in, we're just going to be patient and wait for it all to melt. Grab a wooden spoon, grab a drink, and just be patient. And we're gonna just stir, stir, stir. While we're waiting for our cheese to melt, we can add in our salt and nutmeg. Now, the salt is important because we want our cheese to be seasoned, right? I know that there's flavor in the cheese. If you don't want to add the salt, you don't have to. It still will taste delicious, but I need some salt in my cheese sauce. So we're gonna add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, next, I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Nutmeg goes very well with cream sauces. It makes people go, what is that in it? I can't put my finger on it, but they're gonna like it. So we're gonna mix this together. Now, low and slow is the way we wanna go. We do not wanna rush this because if you burn your milk or your cheese, it's all over. Okay, my cheese sauce is fully melted. Remember, we don't want it to ever come to a simmer or a boil. We want a nice, slow, warming cheese sauce bath. Nothing bubbly, nothing super hot. I'm going to add my cheese sauce into a little mini crock that I love to use because it holds the heat in very well and it doesn't get too hot when something really hot is added to it, so nobody will burn themselves. Anything small, any bowl, anything really a couple inches in height will work just fine. Okay, so let's add our cheese sauce to our bowl. Grab your favorite tortilla chips and lay them around your cheese sauce. You can pour this sauce over top of nachos. I have a great nacho recipe on my blog. I have a pulled pork slow cooker nacho recipe with this cheese sauce. That is really good. I also have a air fryer nacho recipe that would be great with this cheese sauce as well. Here we go. I like serving this cheese sauce with a little bit of chopped scallions, which are green onions. It brightens it up a bit and adds a little bit of flavor to the cheese sauce, but that's optional. Now it's important to understand that the sauce will thicken up as it cools. So if you don't like the consistency right out of the pot, just be patient because it will get thicker. But the great thing about the sauce is that even at room temperature, it won't clump up like normal cheese sauces without flour will do. It will stay nice and creamy. It will get pretty thick. If you want to loosen it up because it's gotten a little bit too thick, just pop it in the microwave just for a little bit, stir it up, 10 seconds, 20-second intervals, and it'll get to that consistency again that we like. Now let's try the cheese sauce. The nutmeg, I don't leave it out. It's so delicious, adds so much flavor. Like that little, what is that? It like simply takes a delicious plain cheese sauce to that next level. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you found this recipe to be delicious, or if you tried this recipe, just comment below. I would love to hear your feedback. All right, guys, happy hosting. Bye-bye. I could just eat this for dinner.